Thank you for joining us. I'm Joy.
And I'm Laura.
And this is The Witches of Letters, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 1, Episode 22, Devil's Trap.
This was so good. This was such a nice episode. Like, I was bitching to Laura about the last episode. I was just like, why? Why? And it's not a bad episode, but it's so important to the storytelling, and it's more or less a pure like storytelling episode, isn't it? And it happens to be really dark storytelling. And I did not enjoy myself for that episode, but this one was so good for me to rewatch because I'm rewatching. She's watching for the first time. I was super excited to hear what she thought because also I knew about the ending and the jump scare at the ending. And I was like, I feel like this is a solid jump scare. So I was excited.
Yeah, that did scare me.
Yeah. I was excited to hear her be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and we watched it together, didn't we? So you got my reactions. But
I did. I got them live, and that was really entertaining. I highly recommend if you're rewatching this show or you're watching it for the first time with your friends, definitely for the finale, you need to watch it together because you need to be in the same space or at least messaging where you can get their live reactions of what the fuck just happened because there's some really interesting twists. And there's some really good jump scares. And it's so entertaining to watch this episode with friends.
I think at the end of the episode, I just messaged you and was like, I need to process. Because
she did.
There was so much going on. I was like, I just can't even form a reaction right now.
She just could not even, you guys. She could not even.
There's so much.
It's a wild episode. Like, so much happens. I don't think that I can think of any other episode in any other series of TV where there's that much that happens in a single episode. It's all the last packed.
It's like the last 10 minutes is just, oh, now John's the demon. Oh, now Sam's got to decide if he's going to kill his dad. Oh, and now they have a car crash. It's like, oh my God. There's too much.
Fucking semi-truck for me. Like the other ones are, yes, they are twisty-turny, but that was the thing that I expected the least. And I tell you what, like on my rewatch, my second rewatch, because I was doing all my notes and everything, the first time I was just chilling and watching it with Laura, and I just wanted to experience the episode. I only remember that the semi-truck jump happens at the end because I'd been looking at episode art and like some fan stuff. And I saw a whole bunch about the smashed ending. And I was like, oh yeah, that happens. So when I was rewatching it the first time, I was expecting it. And I was like, this is going to be entertaining to see how Laura reacts. And then I totally forgot the second watch through. And it jump scared me so hard the second time. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Because I just assumed it was going to end and be like, well, John and Dean are both really hurt and injured. So,
yeah.
And they're already going to the hospital and you already don't know what's going to happen to them. And then it's like, oh, so Dean's like on death's door, but now they've also had a car accident. So now they're all on death's door. And you're like, what? And you don't know, they could be dead for all I know. They could all be dead for all I know.
It's a lot.
I have a bit of a rant about IMDb again. So I'm glad I didn't look at IMDb before the episode. I don't think I even looked at it after the episode actually either because I was worried about spoilers. But the picture for this episode is John with yellow eyes. So I was like, oh, well, it's a good job I didn't look at that then.
We have such huge trust issues with IMDb now as far as spoilers go. We're just like, let's just not look. Because it will ruin everything.
Not even the picture. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to as much as possible. Like, I know I've seen the season before. But I'm trying as much as possible to try and keep myself as fresh as possible so that Laura and I are kind of experiencing it together. Obviously not for the first time, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that I've forgotten because there's 15 seasons. And I do rewatch episodes, but I tend to rewatch just my favorite episodes. So I very
Yeah.
rarely will go through and watch everything in order. I tend to skip around a bit because, I figure that's the privilege of you've seen the whole show. You get to skip the parts that you either found to be a downer or you didn't like or whatever, and you get to just watch
Mhm.
your absolute favorite things. And so I've forgotten like a reasonable amount, I feel like. And it's been really fun to rewatch it with that point of view, that perspective of trying not to spoiler it for myself. But I've had the same thing happen to me with IMDb a couple of times where like something is mentioned and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. And they're really good at like having spoiler warnings on like the goofs or the trivia or whatever. But then
Yeah.
they'll put a picture up on the actual
That gives
like when
everything
you
like the biggest
Yeah.
twist. The biggest twist in the whole episode. And they're like, oh, look at this. What is wrong with
Yeah.
you? I found it really interesting because we both did really enjoy this episode. That this episode got rated on IMDb as like the most popular episode of this season, which is interesting because
Ah.
I've got conflicting data because I've heard a lot of people say that it's Bloody Mary. Well, not just people, also magazines. So like different news outlets cover the most popular episodes. So according to Miss Mojo, this is in the top 10 supernatural episodes of all time. Then according to IMDb, it's one of the most highly rated fan favorites, like the number one of season one. But I've seen other websites
Yeah.
and professional outlets that are like, oh, it's the Benders, or oh, it's Bloody Mary, or it's the pilot. So I think there are several fantastic episodes in season one, and this is one of them. So it makes sense to me that it's a fan favorite and it's really highly rated. Kripke did write
Yeah.
on this one, so
Season
we do
one's
have
strong.
Yeah, we do have the Kripke vibes. Season one is strong. It is really strong. I really, really enjoy it. This episode is the first appearance of Jim Beaver as Bobby Singer, and actually this week is his birthday.
I love him.
So happy birthday to him.
Ah.
He's an amazing actor.
When we're recording.
Yeah, when we're recording.
Because by the time they hear this, it'll be like the beginning of September, I think.
So this episode has 2 film references, and Laura has some interesting behind the scenes facts from the DVDs because she is fancy and she has the box sets now, so she's got all of these really cool hot takes about stuff. But
yeah, because I rage bought it that I've just explained last episode.
Yeah. So this one really pulls from The Exorcist, and there's Exorcist references. There's a couple of other things, but I didn't think that they were as interesting as the fact that there's definitely an Exorcist reference. But I was like, IMDb, what are you doing? You've dropped the ball. Because there's so a Shining reference in this one as well. And they didn't put down that there's anything about The Shining. And I was just like, are you what? Like, what is wrong with you? Are you awake?
Is this the other... There's another Here's Johnny, or was that last episode? I'm getting them muddled up because they're one episode in my head.
Many Here's Johnnies, but there's definitely a Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
And this one, and it happens again and again and again,
yeah.
because it's just like, it's a really fun cinematic moment, and they love doing it in Supernatural. They love doing the axe moments. So there is yet another one of those. It's great. I looked up the Key of Solomon's use in this episode. So they have the actual like images that they're drawing that they learned from Bobby, right? So
yeah,
those are actually real. They are actually from the Key of Solomon, and they are actual devil traps. And the one that they use in this episode is a combination, which I'll break down for you a little bit more when we really get into the episode. But I thought that was interesting because I did not expect that. I thought it was just going to be like a random art piece. But no, it turns out it's actually occult stuff. And I was fascinated. I thought that was
that's cool.
So interesting. I also learned that Rumsfeld is really comically named, right? Because for this episode, he's kind of a terrible guard dog, right? Like he gets taken out immediately, or he runs away immediately. It's one or the other. I'd like to think that she snaps the chain in a fit of violence and he just runs away. But basically, Rumsfeld was the Secretary of Defense who was terrible at his job. So the fact that Bobby's dog is called Rumsfeld and he is literally, his one job is to guard the property, and he's like medium bark when he sees a demon and then is out. Like, that was so funny to me.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's my little
That is funny.
That's my little preamble.
Oh, well, mine. I might as well say mine then. So on the special features of the box set, Kripke, or it might have been one of the other writers, I forgot to look it up again, said that originally they were going to have Dean as the one who was taken so that Sam and John would have to put their differences aside to save him. That was like the storyline that was going to be. But then they had scheduling issues with Jeffrey Dean Morgan because he'd started on Grey's Anatomy. So they had him as the one that was kidnapped, so they didn't have to have him on set as much. And then they realised that actually that was a better storyline anyway, because then Sam has to choose between killing his dad and the demon or like neither of them. And that was, they said that was the only way the story could have been told, which I agree with, because the whole season has been about the boys finding their dad, hasn't it? So then I think this is from them as well. They said that both things that they were looking for in the season are then in the same body. So they find the demon and their dad, but they're like one. So I thought that was cool.
That is so cool. I had no idea. That is so cool.
Yeah. So it was like an accident that was the storyline in the end.
I wonder if when we get into it like a little bit later, I have a few plot rants, and I wonder if that might sort of explain a few of my plot rants, because that does fill in a lot of holes for me. Like, that makes so much sense.
Well, I have to say, when I listened to this bit, it's made me suspicious about what might be now happening in the beginning of season 2. But yeah, I'll have to see.
Yeah.
I have a theory.
Yeah. Buffy just started playing in my head. She said, I have a theory, and my brain went, I have a theory. It might be funny. That cracked me up. That's not the real tune, but it's fine. It's very warm today while we're recording this episode, you guys, and we're gonna allow me that.
Okay, so this is season 1, episode 22, Devil's Trap. The original air date for this episode was May 4th, 2006. Star Wars Day.
I was about to say, may the 4th be with you. I just found out, I just posted this today, but I had just found an interview with Jensen talking about how the way that Kripke and the show got him on board to play a part on Supernatural is they told him that it was going to be like Han Solo and Luke Skywalker together, but in a horror setting, and he was like, boom, done, I'm in.
Yeah, that was on the special features as well, because originally they both auditioned for Sam, and then they wanted both of them, so they had to try and persuade Jensen to be Dean.
Fact. I cannot get that fact out of my head. The fact that they were like, oh no, you need to, it's like Sarah Michelle Gellar auditioned for Cordelia, and they had to convince her that she should be Buffy. Same situation, different shows.
Yeah.
But like, I cannot get over, like, I'm trying to imagine what it would have looked like if Jensen Ackles had played Sam and Padalecki had played Dean, and I like can't. My brain can't even. I really want to, if I ever go to a convention, I'm going to ask them to do that, just so that my brain can kind of like make sense of this thought, like this idea that was there. And I also wonder who it was who was like, no, he needs to be Dean, because whoever that person is a fucking legend and deserves a trophy.
I'll carry on with my synopsis now. So we pick up where the last episode left off. Meg has captured John, so Sam and Dean have to find a way to save him. They go to see an old family friend named Bobby Singer, who helps them lure and trap Meg. They perform an exorcism and get information from her about where John is being held captive. They manage to rescue him, fighting demons along the way, and hide out in a remote cabin. At this point, we find out that the yellow-eyed demon has possessed John Winchester. He attacks Dean, and just as it looks like Dean is about to be killed, Sam manages to break free and get the cult, but then has to make a decision to either kill both the demon and his father or let the demon go. The demon leaves John's body, causing John to become furious that Sam didn't take the opportunity to kill it. Both John and Dean are severely injured, so Sam starts driving them to the hospital. On the way, their car is T-boned by a huge truck with a possessed driver, and the series ends with all 3 Winchesters injured in the car wreck and us not knowing if they are alive or not.
I remember watching this like on TV before Netflix was even a thing as this aired, and that was the season finale.
Yeah.
And everyone being like, what the fuck, bro? Are we even gonna get a next season? And the fans in general were like, we demand the next season. I remember that was a huge thing. It was sort of like not exactly the same level as like the Game of Thrones ending outrage, but it was high. It was a high level of what have you just done to me? What do you mean I have to wait so long to find out what's happening to these characters that I'm now really in love with? It was really emotional. It was a big deal.
Well, that's the thing. Like back then, you were waiting like a week between episodes anyway, and then the seasons sometimes had like 2 years between them, and it was hard. I would have been so annoyed if we were in 2006 now and I'd have to wait. I'd be like, I need to know.
Yeah, it was really, really hard. I was not impressed. I had a total tantrum about it. Not gonna lie, I did. But
I only have to wait up to a week, but I'm still like,
yeah. Totally different viewing experience. The world has changed so much. All right, so I wanted to bring up something that really upset me, which is, I know we mentioned this before, so I'm going to keep this part of this very brief because my rant is very ranty. But like, you know how Laura Rage bought the box set and now has all this amazing stuff that I don't have because I'm watching it on Amazon Prime currently. All right, so she has the original music. Now, as an OG fan, I remember what the original music is and what it's supposed to sound like. And the fucking seething rage, the way that I frothed at the mouth watching Amazon Prime's version of The Road So Far. I can't, okay? I can't. Like the absolute trash that is the cheap-ass version of The Road So Far without Kansas makes me feel like downright murderous. Like they didn't fucking invest in the music at all. They just like went with whatever. The lyrics are shit. Like the hook is literally, I will not fall down. Okay? And that's just over and over again. And I am not okay with this. Like, that's like you're nervous on a date and you say to yourself, I won't fall down. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like if you're collecting your fucking high school diploma and you're going across the stage and you don't want to, you go, I will not fall down. That is not Carry On, My Wayward Son, There Will Be Peace When You Are Done, Lay Your Weary Head to Rest. Do you know what I'm saying? That is not the poetic perfection. That is classic rock, perfectly, flawlessly melded with the storyline. All right? That's not the same shit. That is the end of my rant. Thank you.
See, I didn't have Kansas either though, because it was on the episode before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what I had. It might have been the same one I had.
I don't know what it's on the box set. Like if
the box set definitely doesn't have Kansas because I looked it up because it said it only has it once every season, and because it had it in the penultimate episode, it's the only season that they did that for. In every other season, it's the finale, but for this one, it was the penultimate episode, and then they didn't have it on the finale.
See, and that's fine. That's also fine. But I guarantee you that this piece of shit is not what is on any of them because I checked.
Okay, I don't remember what song I had. I'll let you know. I'll watch it again after this and I'll let you know what song I had.
I promise you it's not this song. I actually need you to look now.
I'll have to look on IMDb because I can't go and watch the box set now.
Please hold.
Yeah. So the original music was Turn to Stone by Joe Walsh, Fight the Good Fight by Triumph, and Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater.
Yeah, definitely have Bad Moon Rising. That was at the end. That was cool.
Yeah. Well, the fucking Prime version doesn't. It's some piece of shit bullshit also. Yeah, no, that's okay. So my rant still stands. I stand by that rant. Okay.
Yeah, I do think Amazon should have just paid for. Well, we've had this back before. I won't go into it again.
Yeah, we can't
I just don't.
recap it. Just like briefly, it's terrible. All of the decisions that they made musically are terrible. Beginning and end of Rant. What were they thinking?
It
Nothing good.
It should be one thing. Once the music has been picked for a show, they should just, if you buy a show, you buy it all. That's it. Listen to our initial rant last episode.
Yeah.
When I rage bought the box set.
We just want good rock. You know, we just want a quality of music. Okay. So, what I really like about the opening of this episode is it's really dark, and Meg has that red blue split lighting on her. So, she has this like demonic halo of red light. And she's being so menacing. And she says, "Oh, you boys really screwed up this time." And Dean looks actually scared. Like, Dean is so stoic. I swear, if you looked up the definition of stoic in the dictionary, there would be a picture of Dean Winchester next to it. But he looks shook. And that immediately, as somebody who's watching the episode, makes you feel anxious. Like, my heart was racing watching this. I was like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? And I really enjoyed the way that they set up the opening of the episode to carry on from the penultimate episode, but then to also keep that tension rolling. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, and how Sam and Dean are kind of looking at each other when they're on the phone, because Sam is obviously can't hear what's going on, and the way they kind of look at each other, it just conveys so much as well.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Like the terror and the worry. And Sam has the biggest puppy dog eyes, and he's clearly so scared and left out of the loop because he's relying on whatever Dean says out loud in order to fill him in on what's happening. But I feel like that's like the worst, most anxiety driving position to be in, because you know something terrible is happening, but you don't know what the terrible thing is, but you're like playing all of the worst ideas through your head of what it could be.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, like seeing their faces. So Dean, after the phone call, he's just like, "We've got to go now," to Sam, because he says the demon now knows where they are and that they have the cult, and it's probably coming for them now. And Sam's like, "Good, let them come," because he's just thinking about his revenge plan as usual. He's not thinking it all the way through.
Yeah.
And I like how Dean goes, like... "Listen, tough guy."
Yeah. I love this whole scene. I was like, Sam is business as usual and Dean is triggered as fuck, but he's completely right. Because Dean makes a point that they need to leave. Like, they need to get the fuck out of Dodge. And Sam is all like, we just kill things. We just kill the things. And Dean is like, need you to switch on, okay? I need you to switch on before they switch us off permanently. Like, we need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah. It's like we actually have to go and find Dad now.
So cool. Yeah. So Sam's line is, good. We've still got 3 bullets. Let it come. And I was just like, oh, Sammy, you idiot. And Dean goes, listen, tough guy, we're not ready, okay? We don't know how many of them are out there. Now we're no good to anybody dead. We're leaving now. And then it's just the Impala. And what I thought was so cool is like there's this shot of Sam's profile that sort of blends into Sam's profile in the Impala. But to get the sense of motion, they sort of pull back and forwards at the same time. And it was so cool. And then they also split so that we see the Impala is screeching around this corner, giving us this huge sense of urgency. There's some really cool rock music just blasting. And there's something so cool about how scary but also awesome it is at the same time. It's a little bit of scare factor and tension wrapped up in the sexy bacon of the awesomeness that has been peeling out in the Impala to this rock music.
The sexy bacon.
I'm quoting The Fall Guy. I've seen that movie so many times. It's so good. Honestly, it wouldn't be a podcast with me if I didn't plug other movies, okay?
We tend to do that. I paused it on this handbrake turn moment because I wanted to see if I could see if it was a stunt driver, but I don't think it was.
No, so I also, the more that I'm like diving into the fandom and learning more behind the scenes stuff, it looks like Jensen did Dean's driving stunts. Like I can't obviously say that he did every single one. I don't know that, but from what I can tell, he's done a lot of it. Like a lot of it. And
Yeah.
it definitely seems like he did this one too. And it's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So Dean says they need to find out where their dad is and that the demon will probably want to trade him for the gun. And Sam points out that no one's actually mentioned a trade. And at this point, I noted that Dean's eyes do a little shift, which was so subtle, but it clearly showed that he was then thinking, oh shit, no, they didn't. And Sam starts to say that John's probably already dead, but Dean cuts him off with a don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was really good. And Dean is really vulnerable again, but also really strong. It's an interesting mix between him putting his foot down with Sam, because he is really like John. Like we have never seen it before. I don't think we'd ever would have put the pieces together. But the reason why they fight and they're so at odds is because they are so alike. And this whole time we thought Sam is the odd man out. Sam is the one that doesn't fit in. It's the other way around. Dean's the odd man out who doesn't fit in and desperately wants the family unit. Sam and John are so alike that they can't not fight with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Sam is still saying that he just wants to go after the demon with the Colt, but they only have 3 bullets left. That's not very many. And so I'm with Dean on this one. Like if they don't have a plan, then they're easily just going to like waste the bullets and then they won't have any.
No, I thought it was a really good point too. And I also really enjoyed, so there's this part where Dean says, everything stops until we get him back. Do you understand me? Everything. And as he's delivering that line, the lighting is supposed to be of cars passing them on the freeway. It looks like lightning though. It looks like Dean is laying down the law and there's lightning striking all around him and it's hella gothic horror. And it looks so cool and he looks so badass. Like I love this scene. They're sticking to the kind of Caravaggio, chiaroscuro, like medieval painting palette and lighting. And so each scene looks very beautiful and very dramatic. And I can never get over the way that they use things with that element of goth thrown in. Like I love that so much. I love the way that weather and lighting plays such a part in the show, and it really just emphasizes everything that's happening inside the characters internally.
I liked how Dean was just playing the big brother card here. He's like, I'm older, so do as I say. We're doing what I say.
No, I know. I love it. I love it. So Dean says that line, and then Sam kind of pauses to think, and I had written down Sam makes the bitch face, lol. Because I was just like hearing it, Supernatural Wiki in my head. They didn't actually write that here, but Sam is being kind of emo in this scene, and I went, oh no, not Dean having a plan that doesn't involve certain death. Because Sam's plan is everybody dies. I don't care. Let's go out guns blazing. There is no plan. There's no plan. And Dean is like, maybe we should have... Maybe we should have an idea and then we could live. You know, we could just continue to tick over on this earth. And I thought that was really funny and really good. So Sam's coming around, but he's still being kind of emo. And he's like, come on, Dean, you really think these demons are going to leave a trail? And Dean kind of pauses and he goes, you're right, we need help. And the Impala carries off into the night. And then the next thing that we see is it driving into Bobby Singer's.
Yes, it's like a salvage yard, isn't it?
It's an auto salvage yard. And I screamed because I love Bobby Singer. He is one of my favorite characters in the show. It's really exciting for me to know how much Laura will love him. Because, like, he's good in this episode. But he is great through the series. He's such a fan favorite character. And I just wrote Bobby in like huge letters and then I drew hearts all around it.
Well, I already like him because I voice noted you, didn't I? And I said, I really like Bobby already. Is that okay? Is he going to be a good guy? And you said it was okay for me to like him.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, I love this character," and she was like, "Is this safe? Is this safe?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's supernatural." And I was like, "Bobby is safe. You can love Bobby. Love Bobby immediately with all of your heart. What's not to love, honestly?" So my notes were like, Bobby's house is cool as fuck because on the outside you have like the junkyard, and you don't expect what you see on the inside. And then on the inside you have books. You have like infinite conspiracies and murder boards, as I like to call them. There's like papers, floor to ceiling, everywhere. He has this full fireplace with a fire in it. I wrote down he's a goddamn blue collar Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. And we realised straight away that Bobby must be an old family friend. But he says that he'd had a fight with John, and that's why Dean wasn't sure if they should go and see him. And I just wrote, he's clearly another father figure in their lives.
You don't know how right you are. Okay? I'm giving you a tiny invisible trophy because you don't even know. You don't even know how good of an observation that was. I'm so proud of you right now.
Yeah. My next note is that Sam is fascinated by a book.
Did you think that was hot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's looking at all the symbols that can trap demons. Hence the name of the episode, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well observed. Okay. Well observed. So my next favorite thing is Bobby walks up and he goes, "Here you go." And Dean says, "What is this? Holy water?" And Bobby says, "That one is." And then he holds out the other flask and he says, "This is whiskey." And I was just like, yes, Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This is just pure Bobby vibes. And Dean's saying, "Thank you." And Bobby's like, "Of course, your dad needs help." And then Dean says, "Well, yeah, but last time we saw you," I can do it. It's so funny. "Last time we saw you, I mean, you did threaten to blast him full of buckshot, cock the shotgun and everything." And Bobby says, "Yeah, well, what can I say? John just has that effect on people." And I died laughing.
Yeah.
It's such a good line. And I was like, dude, are you ever right? Like the number of times when I would have opened fire on John Winchester for being such an asshole. I was like, he says so much mean shit to Dean about the car. Missouri is even like, "I want to slap you, go see your children." Dean was fucking dying and John was like, "Well, better just keep after this demon." I can't. And it's like also the fact that in this episode, the way that they know that that's not their dad, but that that's a demon, it's because the demon is too fucking nice to them.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the giveaway that is not John Winchester. It's because he's not enough of an asshole. The demon is nicer than John Winchester, and I couldn't get over it. So like this whole opening sequence where Bobby's like, "What can I say? Your dad has that effect on people." And then Dean pauses and he smirks, which is a thirst trap because it's a Dean smirk. And then he goes, "Yeah, I guess he does." And it's like even Dean, who loves his dad more than anything in the world, is like, he is that guy. He is like that.
Yeah. So Bobby is telling them that the demon stuff is serious. He said that normally he hears of maybe 3 or 4 possessions a year, but this year he's heard of 27 already. I don't actually know whereabouts in the year they are though. Like what month are we in? But anyway, he says more and more demons are walking among us. That was scary.
Yeah, that was really scary, and that was such a good way to set up this scene. And also during this scene, I wrote, "I feel like Jim Beaver is wearing a wig, but only at the back. And the mullet is killing me because they clearly wanted to make him look really like blue collar, like rednecky. And he's the salt of the fucking earth, and I love it. And it's like, it's not, I don't have a problem with mullets, okay? But like, it's the way that it looks like a wig. When he turns his head to the side, I couldn't stop laughing. I never noticed it before, but this time I couldn't unsee it. And I
wonder if it was attached to the hat.
Yeah, it looked like maybe it was. It looked so yeah. like he had like a halo hairpiece. And it's like his hair is gray and it's darker than his hair. And I just felt like there was like a clear line between a hairpiece and his head. And I couldn't unsee it. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And it really like swallowed my whole attention.
So he says he doesn't know why it's happening, why this extra demon activity is going on, but he says it's something big and storm's coming, which was cool. And then the dog starts barking, and then he looks out the window and the dog's just gone. And I just wrote, what happened to him and is he okay? Because we don't see any more of the dog and I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Do we see the dog again, ever again?
No. But in my mind, because wait, hear me out. Because he's called Rumsfeld, and we've already like played that joke, right? I think that Meg walks up to the house, like grabs the chain, and is gonna kill the dog. But then the dog just fucking jets off because he's terrible at his job. Like he's the worst junkyard dog ever. And he just runs away. And then he ends up living some kind of strange and interesting life with some other people who are not hunters. Because I wrote down in my notes, Rumsfeld was like, I'm out of here, bitches. I do not get paid. No one said demon fighter. Okay, I am a junkyard dog. No one said stay here and guard against this supernatural bullshit. I am leaving. Good day.
Right, so Meg kicks the door down in the next scene. And I was like, how does she find them? Can she like track them somehow?
I mean, I assume so, because it's never really answered how the demons are tracking them. And so like they've been careful to avoid people and all the rest of it. You and I know that John has been captured and possessed at this point. So theoretically, old Yellow Eyes has access to all of John's memories and information, and I assume that he was this is where they would go. So my assumption is that she knows where they are because they've already captured John, and John has unwillingly given them that information.
Okay. So Dean goes to throw holy water on her, but she sends him flying across the room instead. And then Sam steps forward and human shields Bobby. We like a human shield moment.
He does. We love a human shield moment. I love that. I thought that was great.
Yeah. And then she wants the gun, and her dialogue is really good here.
It really, really, really is. But also, can I just say, there's a moment in the scene before where there's demon lore in the foreground, and then there's Dean in the background, and you can see the wheels are turning and that he's plotting. And that is such a fucking hot thirst trap. And then when we get here, I wrote down sexy revenge Dean is a 10 out of 10. Because you can tell that the wheels are in motion for what's about to happen. And I think it sets it up so cool. So Meg walks in and she's beating the shit out of everyone. And she says, I want the Colt, Sam, the real Colt, right now. And Sam and Bobby are slowly moving across the room and Meg's following them. But she's like stalking them like some kind of predatory cat. And it's really cool because, again, she's so small. And she shouldn't be this intimidating, but the actress is incredible and she's really scary. So Sam says, we don't have it on us. We buried it. And Meg says, didn't I say no more crap? I swear, after everything I heard about you Winchesters, I gotta tell you, I'm a little underwhelmed. First, Johnny tries to pawn off a fake gun, and then he leaves a real gun with you two chuckleheads. Lackluster. Men, I mean, you really didn't think I would find you? And I was laughing because, like, chuckleheads. And then Dean steps in the frame behind her, and Dean says, actually, we were counting on it. And Meg turns to look at him, and Dean stares at her, and then he looks up at the ceiling. The slow, homicidal tilt of his head. Okay, he's Dexter before Dexter. And I wrote in my notes that I need therapy, and I clearly have problems. Because, again, I am the most attracted to Dean when he's in murder mode, in, like, revenge and violence mode. I was just like, oh, that's so sexy. There's something wrong with me. So Meg turns to look at him, and Dean stares at her, and then Meg sees the ceiling and the symbol that's etched there, because that's where we have the devil's trap. And Dean just goes, gotcha. And I was like, oh my God. It was such a cool moment. I was like, this is amazing. This is so sexy. I wrote down, the fucking American Psycho / Here's Johnny smile. Oh my god, he's so handsome when he's violent. And that was the part where I wrote down I have issues. And then I wrote down the slow look up to the ceiling and the gotcha, unbelievably satisfyingly hot.
Yeah, the gotcha was definitely, and I wrote a pun which I thought you might appreciate, because on my initial watch I was was talking out loud and I was like, she's in some sort of trap. Yeah, thirst trap.
I just almost choked on my Coke. I was drinking my drink while she was telling me that. That's fucking beautiful. That has to go on like that. I don't know. Out of context quotes or highlights or some shit. That's the best thing that I've ever heard. You get a trophy. Okay, that was everything.
I like how you started drinking when I said I'm gonna do a pun and you just started, oh, this is a good time to have a drink.
Well, I didn't know it was gonna be that. Like I thought, oh, she's gonna make a pun. I look forward to hearing this. I'm like mid rehydration because my throat was hurting a little bit from talking so much. And boom, it turned out to be the best joke that you've ever made. Like, oh, I'm living. That was amazing.
On a serious note, though, I had noted that it was cool how she's kind of like being really menacing and like a demon, obviously, and she's pushing them further and further back into the house. But really what's happening is that they're leading her into the trap. So she thinks she's going to get one up on them, but they're leading her into the trap, which I thought was cool.
Oh, it's so cool. I love it so much. I rewatched it a couple of times. It's everything. And then Dean's all, where's our father, Meg? And Meg says, you didn't ask very nice. And Dean goes, where's our father, bitch? And the way that he says it is so good. That is such a sexy fuck you moment because she's so evil and he's like, where's our father, bitch? And he's just not at all interested in playing with her. Like he is full on, I am scarier than the scary things, right? Because it's like Meg has been set up this entire season as such a terrifying character. And Dean's like, guess what? I'm scarier than you. Oh my God. It's so good. I love it so much.
Yeah, this whole kind of back and forth between them was good. I thought it was mean though when she says, do you kiss your mother with that mouth? I was like, oh bitch.
Oh yeah, no,
she knows that they stab their mum.
Oh, she's evil. Like she's full evil. So basically what happens is Meg says, geez, you kiss your mother with that mouth? Oh wait, I forgot, you don't. And then he lunges at her and he's right up in her face and he's yelling, do you think this is a friggin' game? Where is he? What did you do to him? And Meg says, he died screaming. I killed him myself. And Dean looks at her with like full rage and then he backhanded her. Like he backhanded her so hard.
Yeah.
And Meg says, that's kind of a turn on. You hitting a girl. And Dean goes, you're no girl. And then this is where things get interesting because Bobby calls him into the other room. And I was like, there's this whole scene. And I was like, Dean has gone full American Psycho mode. And Bobby and Sam are like, whoa. And that honestly made me kind of laugh. And then I had a little bit of a rant because Bobby says that be careful with her, don't hurt her. And Dean says, why? And Bobby says, because she really is a girl, that's why. And Sam says, what are you talking about? And Bobby says, she's possessed. That's a human possessed by a demon. Can't you tell? And Dean says, are you trying to tell me there's an innocent girl trapped in there somewhere? And Bobby's kind of nodding and he looks at Meg, who's staring back at them. And Dean says, that's actually good news. And then this scene shifts to Sam looking through a book for an exorcism ritual. And Sam looks at Dean, who looks back at his brother, and then they move over to Meg, right? But I wrote down the whole demon passes its people and don't break the people thing versus demons walking among us, about how there's both. But then we know that there's both because of Phantom Traveler. And Bobby's all like, what do you mean you don't know the difference? And I wrote down, well, Bob, what the fuck are the signs? Like, no one ever explains how they're supposed to be able to tell the difference between the two. And I was like, this just feels like a really overly convenient plot device to take us to, ooh, we can threaten to send Meg to hell. And that's how we get the information from her. and I was kind of rolling my eyes because it felt so like basic. And when you
Yeah.
first watch it, if you're not watching it as like you're not watching it to really deeply watch it and read into it. It's like it's a good twist, like it's a good plot twist. But when you're watching it and you're really like really paying attention, I was just like, what? What?
Yeah, no, I agree, because I'd written down, how is she possessed? How is she a human possessed by a demon? Because she's been indestructible for the last every
Yeah.
episode we've seen her. Like, she literally did a Die Hard fall out of a 7-story building. Like, how is she
Yeah.
alive if she was a human? And I wasn't sure whether to believe it at first, but then obviously it gets sad when the exorcism happens. But
That does
the
get
whole
really,
time I
really sad.
was like, is she really? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't convincing to me.
No, there wasn't enough build up or switch in the story to really support it. So it's supposed to be like a whoa, sudden shift in the storytelling. But we've had guys possessed before. They have their specific ways to tell if someone is possessed by a demon. And the thing that got to me was like none of that happened with Meg ever. And so we have this new demon lore suddenly from nowhere where it's like demons can either walk the earth as themselves or they can be possessing people. But they never explain it. They never go into any more detail with it. Like it, as far as I remember, it's more just less just used like in this particular moment for this episode. We have a whole season under our belt and it's just like nothing is so random. And then also suddenly in this episode, demons can just randomly hop from body to body. So like in Phantom Traveler, they said that there were certain things like you had to be weaker, you had to be anxious, all the rest of it. So like you almost had to allow it to happen. And now they've switched the lore on us suddenly to be like, oh, they can just possess whoever now.
Yeah, it could just be anyone.
Yeah. And I mean, it's good. It makes it scarier, but it also doesn't make any sense with the entirety of season 1.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so they start the exorcism and Sam's speaking Latin again. I don't know why I find that hot, but I do.
It is hot. That's why you find it hot.
And this is where Dean makes the Exorcist reference. Meg says, "An exorcism? Are you serious?" And Dean says, "Oh, we're going for it, baby. Head spinning, projectile vomiting, the whole 9 yards."
I love that part. It was great. Yeah. It was so good.
Like a reference.
And so Sam keeps reading in Latin, which is also kind of a thirst trap, as Laura has just said. And I have a fun behind the scenes kind of Easter egg for us here.
Ooh.
So I'm going to do a double because we've also already got our set location. So I'm going to give you the Exorcist stuff. And I'm also going to give you the creepy lore for this location. Because obviously it's a creepy episode, therefore that's what that is. So, according to Supernatural Wiki, the exorcisms in the show actually change really specifically from the ones that we see earlier on in the season to this one. And they said that it's clear from what Sam Winchester says in Phantom Traveler and in Devil's Trap that the boys skip the Invocatio in Psalms and jump directly into the exorcism proper. And it's understandable given that it's not as though they have all the time in the world, especially in Phantom Traveler. It appears that the Supernatural production team / writers did a cut and paste from bits and pieces of at least one version of the ritual and possibly some prayers. When Sam first performs an exorcism in Phantom Traveler, he reads a Ritual Romanum from John's journal. However, over time, both Sam and Dean memorize the ritual. And I put in for you guys a link because Supernatural Wiki actually has direct line-by-line translation of the rites that they actually use. And some of them, they didn't get the Latin quite right, and it's a little bit funny. So there's some funny behind-the-scenes stuff, and there's some interesting behind-the-scenes stuff. And if you're a language nerd or a lore nerd, then I think you'll really, really enjoy that. So that's there for you. And then I have an article about Lincoln, which is where this episode is set. And I thought that this story was particularly freaky. So it says, back in the early 1900s, several children went missing from the Lincoln area. Many believe that they ran away, and some believe that they disappeared in Wilderness Park. It wasn't until one day a boy went missing and his sister claimed to see him walking back into the woods with an old woman. a woman whom the locals had named Witch of Wilderness Park because she lived in a secluded shack by herself up in the woods.
God
Now, at this
forbid.
point in the story, we're like, for fuck's sake, because older woman living alone independently, like all this stereotypical stuff, you know, how dare she? But this is where it takes a twist. So, upon the girl's remarks, police came out to investigate the scene where the bodies of half a dozen of the missing children were uncovered. When questioned, the old woman only complained that the children would run all over her yard. With no hard evidence, they could not convict her. When news hit the locals, they were outraged and they set out and seized the old woman themselves and hung her by the neck in chains from a big tree. Rumor
Oh.
has it today, yeah, I know. Rumor has it today that the witch haunts the woods of Wilderness, and claims of rattling chains and screams of the witch are heard in the darkness of night, as well as the laughter and cries of the dead children. Below, pictured, is what some call Hell's Gate, located on the outskirts of the woods, where it is believed if you walk back into the woods from the gate, you will find the ghosts of the dead children and the witch of the woods.
Oh, that's a cool story.
And it is very, very spooky. So I have that link there for you. And I have another link here because located on the north side of town, the 202-acre Hummel Park is a popular place for Omaha's residents to gather for exercise or a round of disc golf. It's also one of the most notoriously haunted spots in the city. For decades, the park has been stained with sinister stories, some paranormal terrors, and some very real tragedies. If you visit the park late at night, you might see an otherworldly band of ghostly apparitions creeping between the trees, all of which seem to slant just slightly to one side, and spray painted pentagrams on park property. Additionally, the very old rickety staircase in the park is nicknamed the Stairway to Hell, and somehow always seems to have more steps to count going up than going down. Tread carefully.
Another stairway to hell.
Another stairway to hell. So we have a gateway to hell, and we also have a stairway to hell. Those are both in Nebraska, neighboring each other, I believe. So I thought that was really, really, really interesting. So I read directly from that article, and I thought it was so well written. So definitely check out the link if you want to have a look at the entire article. And then the lore for you guys for this Easter egg is that the Lesser Key of Solomon, also known by its Latin title of Lemegeton Clavicula Salomonis, or simply the Lemegeton, is an anonymously authored grimoire on sorcery, mysticism, and magic. It was compiled in the mid-17th century, mostly from materials several centuries older. It is divided into 5 books and is based on the Testament of Solomon and the ring mentioned within it that he uses to seal demons. So the Testament of Solomon is a kind of pseudo biographical composite text ascribed to King Solomon, but not actually regarded as canonical scripture by either Jewish people or by Christian groups, because it looks like it was written in a Greek language and based on precedents dating back to the early 1st millennium CE, but was likely not completed in any meaningful textual sense until sometime in the Middle Ages. So we don't know if this was oral storytelling that has pieces of original truths in it, but then was much later transcribed, or what it's drawing on. So because we don't have a direct link from author to the text itself, it's hard to say which pieces of it are original and who originally wrote it or who you could ascribe it to. What people do agree on is that it's definitely found in the Middle Ages, and its most noteworthy sort of parts basically describe how Solomon was enabled to build his temple by commanding demons by means of a magical ring that was entrusted to him by the archangel Michael. So basically, it's about a biblical character using magic to control demons. And whenever I was in church, I always thought that this section was hilarious because I was like, what do you mean? Your sacred king, your bestie, is given these random gifts by angels and God to be like, demons do my bidding. And it's basically like Aladdin making wishes to a genie. It was wild. But I have actual illustrations of magical circles and different bits and pieces in the show notes for you guys to look at. I also have the actual images from the specific magical pieces of the text from the Key of Solomon, which is regarded as a real occult text. Okay. In the show notes, you can see, if you look at that scene where they make that devil's trap for Meg, you can actually see that it's two separate devil's traps that were used. So it's the Grand Pentacle combined with the fifth pentacle of Mars. And together, the idea is that all the spirits would serve and obey them. It's quoted as saying, "It is terrible unto the demons, and at its sight they will obey you, for they cannot resist its presence." So not only would that devil's trap actually trap her, but it would also compel her to do what they're telling her to do, which I thought was really interesting from like a magical folklore perspective.
Yeah. So is that where they got the symbols, the traps from the Key of
Yes.
Solomon?
Yes.
Cool. I do like how they use kind of real things from real life mixed with a bit of their own show lore in the show.
It is so much fun. It's so interesting. Like I've been studying the occult for a long time. I've been studying folklore for a long time, various religions, but I'm always learning new things from this. And it's really interesting to me how much of it is actually accurate. Like they're not flawless. They don't get everything right. But I have definitely learned things from the show that I had no idea about before.
Yeah, that's cool. So to go back to the episode, so the Meg demon acting, I thought was really good. Like how she goes between the two.
So good.
Yeah,
so good, so scary,
So
and then
scary.
so heartbreaking later.
Yeah, she's a good actress. And Dean is scary as well. But I also put that he's kind of hot when he's getting angry with her, though.
Right? Like this is the thing is Dean as a character is like basically an anti-hero, and I stand by he's Dexter before Dexter. He's a sociopath that is super fucking hot that we're allowed to fall in love with. And it's allowable that he's sexy while he's doing these things because he's specifically directing the violent tendencies at evil things, which makes him heroic. And I thought that was a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah. So yeah, they're doing this exorcism, and she keeps, being the demon, and then Meg, and then the demon, and then there's a line that Dean says that was really cool, but kind of creepy and scary as well, because he says, "For your sake, I hope you're lying, because if it's true, I swear to God, I will march into hell myself, and I will slaughter each and every one of you evil sons of bitches. So help me God."
I have that down as well because I was like, again, it's what I was saying before. Dean is so badass that like it's like we've had this entire season of Meg and the demon being the big bad, and then I feel like there are moments where you go, "Oh no, bitch, you're not the big bad. Dean is the big bad. You should be scared of Dean Winchester because he has no stopping. He really will rip his way into hell and start slaughtering demons. It's absolutely believable."
And that was his reaction to her saying, like, "Oh, I killed your dad," basically.
Yeah.
Oh, I made a note to say that when the book pages started spinning, I thought it was cool because it reminded me of Charmed.
Yeah. I was thinking more of like different exorcism movies, but it is very cool. It is fun. It's entertaining and cool. And then there's a little bit of back and forth where there's Sam and there's Bobby and there's Dean, and Dean's like, "Let's kill everything," and Bobby's like, "She's a human being," and I was like, "Not really. What are you gonna do? Turn her into some kind of calcifer? What the hell was this? Like, at least the exorcism is scary." And then afterwards, how bad I felt for Human Meg, and how like the first time that I was watching it, I cried. But there's this sequence where they get this information out of Meg by torturing her through exorcism, basically. And Sam's like, "And the demon, the one we're looking for, where is it?" And Meg says, "I don't know. I swear that's everything. That's all I know." And Dean says, "Finish it." And he's like hella cold and badass. And Meg says, "What? I told you the truth." And Dean says, "I don't care." And she goes, "You son of a bitch, you promised." And Dean goes, "I lied. Sam." And then Sam doesn't do anything. And Dean goes, Sam, read. And Sam's kind of quiet. And I was kind of wondering if Sam feels like this is going too far or if he means what he says. Because what he says is maybe we can still use her and find out where the demon is. But we all know that Sam is, he's adorable. Okay? He's kind of a soft puppy. He has 2 settings. And his settings are, I want to kill the yellow-eyed demon and I don't give a shit about anything and I'll destroy myself to do it. Or, let's care about everyone and I have the biggest, softest heart ever. And I could not tell what was happening in the scene. Like, is he really like, oh, she could be lying? Or is he like, maybe we shouldn't kill this woman? I went back and forth on it.
I think he is because there's the human element. Sam understands the human element, whereas Dean doesn't.
Exactly. Like we saw
Dean
that in
care.
Nightmare. Yeah, we saw that in Nightmare. And I was not a fan of it in Nightmare. I'm a fan of it in every single other context. But in Nightmare, it was like a bridge too far for me. But Dean says, Sam, there's an innocent girl trapped somewhere in there. We've got to help her. And Bobby says, you're going to kill her. And Dean says, what? And Bobby says, you said she fell from a building. That girl's body is broken. The only thing keeping her alive is that demon inside. You exorcise it, that girl is going to die. And Dean says, listen to me, both of you. We are not going to leave her like that. And Bobby says, she's a human being. That's the part where I had my rant.
Yeah.
And Dean says, and we're going to put her out of her misery. Sam, finish it. And Sam looks at his brother and then he looks at Bobby and he just doesn't know what the right thing to do is. And you can see, and he looks to Meg and Dean just says, finish it. And I was just like, ooh, it's getting dark. It's getting dark. So Sam takes a deep breath and then he keeps on going with the exorcism because I think that in the end he agrees with Dean that he doesn't want to leave her possessed by evil. Whatever is happening, whoever she is, this will have been horrible for her. So Sam continues the exorcism rite and Meg throws her head back and she screams and the demon leaves as like this black cloud of smoke. And can I just say the demon effects in this episode are really good. This was not demon dust. This was way better. This is like almost like a storm cloud of darkness, right? So it hits the protective circle in the ceiling and there's all these cool sound effects of like screaming and weird magic kind of noises, but they're super creepy and I thought that was great. So then real Meg leans forward and there's blood starting to drip from her mouth and she's like kind of fallen over basically. And all the guys are not 100% sure if it's over yet. And then she slowly lifts her head and Dean says she's still alive. And then he says, call 911, get some water and some blankets. Internally, I was like, I'm not sure water and blankets are going to make too much of a difference. After a 7-story droppers door, Laura was like, it's a die-hard fall. But he's trying to be nice, and that's always sweet. So Dean's trying to be kind. And Meg can only speak in a whisper.
After exercising her.
Well, yeah, because she's not the demon. Yeah.
No. This is where it gets sad.
Yeah. So Meg can only speak in a whisper because, again, she's fucked. Like, she's been dropped from buildings. She's been thrown through stuff. Her body is experiencing everything that the demon had put off. And she's getting it all at once. So, like, the enormous amount of pain and agony that she's in is unbelievable. And she says, thank you. And you want to cry. And Sam is Sam. You know, the warm brown eyes and the sweetness. And he says, shh, just take it easy. It's okay. And Dean says, come on, let's get her down. So then they pick her up from the chair and there's this horrible sound of like, you can hear her bones shifting because everything within her is fucking. She starts screaming and they lower her to the floor really gently, like as gently as they can. But it's just one of those horrible situations where anything that they do is going to hurt her and she's falling apart from the inside. Sam says, sorry, I got you. It's okay. And again, Sam is so sweet and so kind. And she says, a year. And Sam says, what? And she says, it's been a year. And Sam says, shh, just take it easy. And Meg says, I've been awake for some of it. I couldn't move my own body. The things I did, it's a nightmare. And Dean says, was it telling us the truth about our dad? Because again, Dean is a lovable sociopath, okay? Like Sherlock Holmes, he's a lovable sociopath. And Sam goes, Dean. And Dean's like, we need to know. And Meg says, yes, but it wants you to know that they want you to come for him. And Dean says, if Dad's still alive, none of that matters. Then this is when Bobby comes in and he has the blankets and the water and they try to give her whatever comfort they can. And Sam says, "Where's the demon that we're looking for?" And Meg says, "Not there, other ones, awful ones." And Dean says, "Where are they keeping our dad?" And she says, "By the river, sunrise." And Dean says, "Sunrise? What does that mean?" And then there's this slow pan over to her, and we realize that she's dead. And you just want to cry. Like I did cry the
Yeah.
first time that I saw it. I just remember being so horrified for the fact that she wasn't the bad guy. She was just a person that was used, and she's killed in the most horrific way. And she tries so hard. She's so brave. At her last moments are helping them and totally selfless. And she must have known that she was dying. And I don't think that there are many people who in that moment would be that heroic, but she was. And then that just makes it worse. Like you feel that loss so much more, and you just lose it. Like I ugly cried the first time I saw that episode.
The second time I watched it, I was upset because I wasn't being suspicious. The first time I watched it, I was
You had
still
that
like,
little
is this
bit
a
of
trap?
like,
I
you
was
were
like,
you were a
is
little
she
bit
really
protected.
Is the demon really gone? Because you know, I have trust issues from other horror films, and this series so far.
Oh yeah, Supernatural is like plot twist all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I totally understand that instinct. Yeah, when you watch it and it fully dawns on you what's happened to her, this poor girl, whoever she is. Like we don't even know if her name is Meg, but it's one of the saddest scenes that I think I've seen in TV. Like it's right up there.
Yeah. So then we cut to another scene, and Sam and Dean are at the car outside somewhere, and Sam is looking through the massive book I've written down. The massive book
It's the
from Bobby's
biggest
house.
book ever. It's like half the size of his body. And that's fucking Padalecki. So we know that he's like 6'7" or something ridiculous. Like huge.
So Sam's reading the book, and Dean has the boot open and is loading guns. And then Sam starts drawing on the car. He's drawing a devil's trap on the car. And Dean's like, what the fuck? But he explains he's making the trunk into kind of a lockbox so that demons can't get in. And I thought that was smart and hot. But I liked Dean's reaction. It was funny how he's like, "You're drawing on my car. What are you doing?"
Yeah. He was just like, and that part made me laugh so hard because he goes, "Dude, what are you drawing on my car?" And Sam says, "It's called a devil's trap. Demons can't get through it or inside of it." And Dean goes, "So?" And Sam's still drawing, like he's still, it turns the trunk into a lockbox. And Dean goes, "So?" And Sam goes, "So we have a place to hide the colt when we go get Dad." And Dean's like, "What are you talking about? We're bringing the colt with us." And Sam says, "We can't, Dean. We've only got 3 bullets left. We can't just use them on any demon. We've got to use them on the demon." And Dean says, "No, we have to save Dad, Sam. Okay, we're going to need all the help we can get." And Sam says, "Dean, you know how pissed Dad would be if we used all the bullets? Dean, he wouldn't want us to bring the gun." And Dean says, "I don't care, Sam. I don't care what Dad wants, okay? And since when do you care what Dad wants?" And Sam says, "We want to kill this demon. You used to want that too. Hell, I mean, you're the one who came and got me at school." And Dean's like, pfft. Like his face was just like, "Shut up." He would have written bitch face, okay? Dean would have written bitch face over this one. He says, "You're the one who dragged me back into this, Dean. I'm just trying to finish it." And Dean says, "Well, you and Dad are a lot more alike than I thought. You know that? You both can't wait to sacrifice yourself for this thing. But you know what? I'm going to be the one to bury you. You're selfish. You know that? You don't care about anything but revenge." And I was like, "Ooh," because that's a deep cut. And Sam says, "That's not true, Dean." And Dean kind of scoffs again. And he says, "I want Dad back, but they're expecting us to bring the gun. They will get the gun. They'll kill us all. That colt is our only leverage, and you know it, Dean. We can't bring that gun. We can't." And Dean says, "Fine." And Sam goes, "I'm serious, Dean." And Dean goes, "I said, fine, Sam." Because Sam's looking at me, and Sam is looking at me and goes, "I'm serious, Dean." He knows there's fuckery, okay? Sam is like, Dean is not going to listen to me. And Dean's all like, "I'm going along with it." I said, "Fine." And Sam, you can tell, is like, So Dean takes the colt out of his jacket, holds it up really dramatically, and then dramatically goes to put it in the trunk. And they're walking away, and Dean says, hey, I think I know what Meg meant by sunrise. So this is where they realize where the sunrise apartment buildings are. However, can I just say, because we know from watching this episode a couple of times that he actually secretly pocketed the gun. Did he pocket it? Did he have a double of it? Did he loop back and steal it when Sam wasn't looking? I don't know. But it makes this whole scene so much funnier because he obviously brings the gun with him anyway. So when Sam's all like, Dean, I'm serious. Dean, I'm so serious right now. Don't fuck with me. You have to leave it here. And Dean's like, okay. And Sam's like, Dean. And Dean's like, I said, okay. We know that Sam was totally right to be suspicious because Dean this entire time was lying to his face and taking the gun with him anyway.
Well, I wonder, now you've said that, because I was looking at that gun and I was like, I don't think that looks like the gun. So I wonder if he put the fake gun in.
Because John sent Dean to go and get a fake gun. So who's to say that he didn't have more than one, right? Who's to say that he didn't put the fake in the trunk and keep the real Colt on him this whole time?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying,
maybe.
Sam is right to be like, Dean, I'm serious, Dean. But Dean is right to like lie to his face and be super shady and brilliant because he saves the day.
Yeah.
So it was just so funny.
So I understand where they're both coming from in this scene, but I lean towards Dean more. I feel sorry for him because he's just really worried about John and wants to get him back. And he's also worried that Sam's going to sacrifice himself again and he's not going to have his family together, which is all he wants. But Sam, I understand Sam as well because he's thinking logically about the gun, but their priorities are just different because Sam's end game is just, we need to kill the demon. And Dean's end game is all three of them being safe, regardless of whether the demon is still alive or not.
Yeah. I think he's like, he wants to kill the demon with his brother and his dad, but not at the expense of anybody's lives. He wants everybody to come out alive. He wants an intelligent plan. And his frustration, because his whole frustration with his dad and Sam is that neither his dad nor Sam give a fuck if they come out of this fight alive. They're both totally willing to sacrifice themselves. And that's why I love Dean's rant where he's like, I'm going to be the one to bury you. And you're selfish. Because he's right.
Yeah.
He's totally right. They're so blinded by their need for revenge that they're not thinking about Dean at all. And Dean is being left behind again. And then when we get into that scene where we have like demonically possessed John and he starts making these remarks about how like Dean isn't the favorite and how people will just leave him behind. We know from that and also from Skin that those are his insecurities and fears. And when we get here and we start having these conversations, it's like, oh, okay, Dean makes so much more sense as a person because the people that he loves the most will not hesitate to leave him through their revenge plans. Like they don't care if they get killed off. They don't care about leaving him behind. They don't care that he's the person that has to bury him. They don't give a fuck. They care about like their other halves and the fact that they've died, but no fucks are given about Dean.
Yeah. So they're walking and they find the sunrise apartments, which is when Dean points out this must be what Meg meant by sunrise. And then I've written down, Dean does a quote that Joy said was like her horror thing. Because he says, if these demons can possess people, they can possess anyone inside. It's like, yeah.
It's like slow clap. Okay, slow clap. If demons can possess people, that means that they can possess people. And it's like, yeah, bro, that's what it means. Oh, I died laughing. I forgot I said that. Thank you for reminding me of that. Oh man. So Sam says, yeah, and it means that anybody could attack us. And Dean says, and so we can't kill him. It's a building full of human shields. And Sam says, they probably know exactly what we look like too, and they could look like anyone. And Dean says, yeah, this sucks out loud. And I was like, that is such a cool line. And I was like, I am adopting that into my real life. Anytime something comes up that inconveniences me or angers me, from now on, I'm going to say this sucks out loud. Because it's so cool the way I did not do it justice at all. He just goes, yeah, this sucks out loud. And it's so Dean Winchester. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. That's probably one of my favorite quotes from this whole episode.
So they come up with a plan to get in the building. Dean suggests pulling the fire alarms as it will get all the civilians out. And I bet this is actually really smart because all the civilians will be safe and anyone left inside is then likely to be a demon.
It is so
and then
smart.
Sam points out that the city will respond in 7 minutes, and Dean says 7 minutes exactly. And I wasn't sure at first what this meant, but then we realised later that Dean is because he wants to steal the firefighters' uniform, so he wants them to come so they can use it as a disguise.
Exactly. But I wrote down, because like Sam goes into the building and he's trying to be low key, but they said right at the beginning, they said the demons know what we look like and everything. Do they even put on a hat? No. Sam doesn't even put on like a fucking baseball cap. Like this whole time, we've seen them dress up as police officers. They've had full outfits. They have dressed up as fucking alarm security people. Okay. Like I understand that this is off the cuff. I do. But like you can't pull a hat from a store. We all know that you guys steal everything all the time. You're telling me that you could steal entire firefighter uniforms. You can't steal a fucking hat or anything to just slide into the building. I was like, shut up. That's dumb.
Yeah, I suppose they could have put a hat on at this point. I suppose they're thinking this is their plan to get a disguise to then go in fully. But yeah, they could have still been recognised in that
the way
time.
They're walking into what they have just stated is a building full of demons who know what they look like. And Sam walks in like, tra-la-la-la-la. He's not even trying to hide his face at all from anyone. I found it funny.
So there's a cut to two people in an apartment who don't say anything to each other, but they're not moving to evacuate either. And then one of them goes to the bedroom and we see John tied to the bed. So then we know these are the demons. And outside people are evacuating and the firefighters are going in. And Dean asks one of the firefighters what's happening. I don't know if you wanted to say this.
What's happening? You see a fire, and the fireman says, "We're figuring it out now, sir. Just stay back." And the firefighter kind of motions him away. And Dean's like, "Well, I've got a Yorkie upstairs, and he pees when he's nervous." And I cracked the fuck up, dude. I laughed so hard. Funny. And the fireman's like, "Sir, you have to stay back," and he just like fully like dismisses him. And meanwhile, this was all a distraction so that Sam could get into the fire truck and pick the lock and get what they need next, which is like they're going to use the uniforms and the kit and everything. And they look so hot dressed as firemen. I was very, very happy with this, okay? And Dean says, I always wanted to be a fireman when I grew up, and I write down same. I distinctly remember being in kindergarten, and they asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I wrote down fireman. So Dean's like, I always wanted to be a fireman when I grew up, and I was like, we are the same person right now.
I had a note just to say that I've never seen green fire engines before. I've only ever seen red ones.
I didn't even notice it. Sam says, you never told me that. And Dean pulls out an EMF meter. I write down EMF for demons. Yeah. Okay, why not? Because I don't think ever before have they had the EMF go off for demonic activity. Like they've been like, it's like the smells and the knocking and the scratching, specifically the sulfur, the people doing evil from nowhere. But never before like, because EMFs they usually use for like ghosts or like people have died here and the spirits are around, you know?
Yeah.
It's haunted.
Yeah, not demons.
Not demons.
Oh, actually, I had a little flag a bit earlier. I had a flag on Sam picking the lock on the fire engine with no one seeing him because there was like a whole crowd of people. How would no one have seen him?
Dean's distraction about his peeing Yorkie was that hilarious, I guess. I don't know. It was like you have Dean talking to one person being like, my Yorkie's gonna pee everywhere. And apparently that meant that the 20 other people were blind and deaf to Sam.
Because it was in the middle of the road. It wasn't like against a wall and he was between the wall and the fire engine.
Yeah.
There was people there.
I feel like the way it was filmed, the way it's written would make sense, but I feel like the way that it was filmed, they needed a little bit of logic. a little bit of working through that.
So they knock on the door of the apartment, and the woman from before, her eyes change to black demon eyes, and she goes to answer the door. And Dean is saying through the door that they need to evacuate, and she opens the door and they barge in, knocking her over. And they're spraying water on them to subdue them. And I was like, is this just a fire extinguisher, or have they turned it into holy water somehow? Because they like sizzling.
Oh yeah, it's definitely holy water. They've blessed the water. And I was like, that is genius. I was like, holy water spray packs. That is awesome. But then I wrote
But when
down,
did they have time to do that? When did they bless the holy water?
well, when John does it, it's like in nomine Patri, et Filii Sancti, just in the name of the Father, the Holy Spirit, etc. Like it's pretty quick. It's a pretty good blessing. So I guess maybe when they were going up the stairs, maybe. That wasn't the part that got to me. The part that got to me is the fact that there's not even burns. I wrote down, it's just steam. Ha ha ha. Because it reminded me of in Bugs where there's fire, but he didn't light the flamethrower. It just becomes a flamethrower magically. With this one,
yeah, it's just fire.
Every other time we've seen like their faces melting off and shit. In this one, it's just steam, and they're going, ah, I'm in pain, I'm in agony. They don't even make their skin look red, guys. There's no blisters, there's nothing. There's just like steamy fog, and the actors going, ah, oh no, holy water, I'm burning, with no evidence of burns. That made me laugh.
I thought this scene was kind of funnier than it was meant to be, because they're kind of manhandling them into a cupboard, and then they put salt around the door to contain them. And then I just wait, and then they start stripping.
yeah. At this point, I was like, wouldn't the uniforms help you leave the building unnoticed? You guys were like, it's really concerning because they'll see our faces. And then they choose to leave the building outside of their uniforms. I was like, you literally could have put a blanket over John's head and snuck out.
Yeah.
And been fine, but no.
But yeah, so they find John, and Dean goes to untie him, but Sam tells him to wait because Sam thinks that he could be possessed. So he chucks holy water on him to check. And I thought this was smart, but it was also foreshadowing, obviously. Because he was already possessed here, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then I wrote, they double bluffed us, because later, when we find out John is possessed by Yellow Eyes, it's a total surprise, as we aren't expecting it, because Sam had already checked.
Yeah, I just felt a little bit frustrated because I just felt like in this episode, in order to give us jump scares and plot twists, they basically just went, meh, all those things we told you before, we've changed it. The lore has shifted. That lore, forget about it. Throw that book out. Burn it. It's not, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't Yellow Eyes say later, like, oh, you thought that would work on me, so maybe he's just like higher. Some of the stuff doesn't work on him that it would work on the lower level demons.
Yeah.
But it is convenient.
It's just a little convenient. Like, I can excuse it because he claims to be like a big deal demon, and apparently that makes him immune to stuff. They set that up a little bit where Meg walks onto consecrated ground, and the priest guy is like, you can't do that, you're a demon. And she was like, whatever. I'm awesome, and therefore these rules don't apply to me.
Yeah. So then we cut to a crowd of people outside, and a man in the crowd is possessed because his eyes turn black, and then also a firefighter. And then they enter the building, and then to the apartment that the Winchesters are in. And this is where the "Here's Johnny" moment is.
Also, I would like to note that I put down, see, the demons wore uniforms because uniforms are useful.
So they all climb out of the window, and Sam puts more salt on the window frame. They're just heavy on the salt this episode.
They really are. Salt will save
it's
us.
Like massive. It's like a massive like oil canister full of salt as well. It's like a huge thing.
It's like a gallon pouring thing of salt. And like, can I just say, the other thing that I think grated on me was the fact that they're like ignoring churches, consecrated ground, and all this other stuff. But they're like, salt. Salt is the answer. Not devil traps, which we know work, but salt. Let's use the salt.
So he puts more salt on the window frame as they leave, and as they're walking away from the building, Sam is tackled by a demon, which is the demon from last episode, who was with Meg at the warehouse. And then Dean runs over and just kicks him in the face.
Yeah, that part's great. That part's amazing. But also, can I just say, there's a moment before that, like a second before that, where Sam is doing the salt on the frame, and there's a demon on the inside who looks out, and he looks really disappointed. And I was like, this reminds me of like a garden slug. He's like a garden slug looking at this line of salt, and he's like, oh no, what will I do now?
Oh no, it can't cross that salt line.
Oh no, not salt. Oh, so funny. And I also put, how the fuck did John, in his apparently incredibly fucked up state, who can barely walk and is being half carried, get down the fire escape so fast? That was fucking hilarious, because he's ahead of Sam and Dean.
Yeah, we didn't see. Yeah, I thought that as well. Yeah, because they're carrying him. They have to carry him out, and then he's at the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah.
Maybe they just threw him, just chucked him out the window.
Nobody's got time for stairs. Not in this family. Not with all these snail demons.
It was a bit of a jump scare. Not a jump scare, but like it shocked me when the guy tackled Sam, because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, me neither. It was a good jump scare. Like, I'll give them that.
Yeah, I did think it was funny how Dean kicks him in the face, though, because he like runs to him, but he runs and then he kind of pauses for a second, and then he kicks him in the face.
Like he's thinking about what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really take the guy down, and then Dean's suddenly thrown onto a parked car, shatters through the windshield, and then our demon dude goes back to beating the shit out of Sam. And then there's suddenly a gunshot, and he gets a bullet through the head, falls off of Sam, dead. But it's like the cult effect, because Dean,
that was
lied, because he's a sexy, sexy liar, it's standing there like an action hero with the Colt, and he puts the gun away and he comes over to Sam and he goes, Sam, come on, and we know that's hot, because anytime he's concerned about Sam, it's hot. So it's like a 1-2 combo of like violence and then also immediately being like, Sam. And I wrote down, Dean with the Colt is a thirst trap, and then I wrote down, I have issues.
No, I had that one as well. When the camera cuts to the smoking barrel of the gun, doesn't it? And then it focuses on Dean's face. That was hot.
It's so hot. It's such a good cut. It's amazing. He looks incredibly sexy.
Yeah. Sam was getting proper beaten up though. Like that looked horrible.
He looked like he was dying. Like he looked like he was a few seconds from like this guy was going to punch his face through the fucking concrete. Like it was bad. It was so brutal.
And later he has a black eye that looks so realistic.
Oh god, yeah, it looks like it's swollen shut, like almost all the way shut. Yeah. It's really good. Like it makes everything so much more brutal. So to just take us from this scene, Dean says, come on, we got to get out of here. And then they run over to John, pick him up, and leave in a huge rush. And meanwhile, I'm giggling because I was like, broken John, who can get down the fire escape faster than them. But they need to carry him. They need to carry him.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's funny.
Yeah. So then they go to a cabin in the woods. So they've found a remote cabin to go and hide in.
Yeah.
Is that just a random cabin that they just happened upon, or was it somewhere they already knew of?
So no one ever explains this. My assumption, both from the behind the scenes stuff that I've seen and just from knowing the Winchesters and the way that they operate, is that this is a place that John has bought and has hidden and off the books so that they have a place to go to if they're ever in serious danger. It's like a rallying point, and shelter. And so like they house. They know to go to their safe house, because the shit has really hit the fan at this point. And they've been found multiple times. So I think this is when they're like, we got to go off grid.
Yeah. I wrote, Sam is on salt duty once more at the cabin. So he's putting salt round all the windows and the doors.
Yeah. They have salt and they have holy water, and I was like, no devil's traps again. We just saw devil's traps, amazing. This whole
That was
scene
just for Meg.
could have been, this whole thing could have been avoided if you just bothered to put in a devil's trap, okay? And
Yeah.
Sam has demonstrated that he can draw them with his chalk pen in like seconds. So the whole we don't have time for this, that doesn't work.
No. Although, yeah, they have time to bless the holy water.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have. Would it work now? Because little do they know that they've already got a demon inside the house. It's coming from inside the house.
I just feel like, you know how Sam says that some of them are like lock boxes, and then you have the one that they had with Meg that like compels her. If I was them and I knew that I had that, I'd be putting that bitch on like the doors and the windows, the floors. Like it would just be going everywhere. And that would be so inconvenient for John, who was secretly possessed, because he'd be stuck where he was and also like compelled to obey them. Just saying. Yeah. Just saying.
Yes. Yeah, because I forgot about the compelling part as well. Because when they realise he's Yellow Eyes, then he could have drawn one quickly then. Although I suppose he was being pinned against the wall, wasn't he? So
he was, yeah. Anyway, we'll allow it because it moves the story forward. But these are just my notes.
We say that a lot.
Oh, we do. The real reason we'll allow it because the Winchesters are sexy as fuck. Okay, they're hot. They dazzled us.
We'll allow it because it's a good show, but
yeah,
it still has plot holes.
It does, yeah. Okay, so Dean comes into the room. Sam is kind of limping around trying to sort things out, looking like on death's door. Like he is beat up. Like Laura says, he looks bad. And Sam says, how is he to Dean? And Dean says, he just needed a little rest. That's all. How are you? Sam says, I'll survive. And then he turns to Dean and he says, hey, you don't think we were followed here, do you? Dun, dun, dun. Foreshadowing. And Dean says, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, we couldn't have found a more out of the way place to hole up. And Sam says, yeah. And then he looks at Dean and he says, hey, Dean, you saved my life back there. And Dean says, so I guess you're glad I brought the gun, huh? And I was
he does
like,
a cute smirk.
He does the best Dean smirk. It's amazing. It's everything. And Sam gets frustrated. He's like, man, I'm trying to thank you here. And Dean's like, you're welcome. It's so great. So Sam walks across the room and Dean says, hey, Sam. And Sam says, yeah. And he says, you know that guy I shot? There was a person in there. And Sam says, you didn't have a choice, Dean. And Dean says, yeah, I know, that's not what bothers me. And Sam says, then what does? And Dean says, killing that guy, killing Meg, I didn't hesitate. I didn't even flinch. For you or Dad, the things I'm willing to do or kill, it's just, it scares me sometimes. And I was like, once again, he's our sexy sociopath, okay? He is very remorseless, but hot. We all have problems because we all think it's hot. So we all got problems. It's not just me. It's all of us. So Sam just looks at him because he doesn't know what to say to that. And then John comes out of the room and he says, you did good. And Dean says, you're not mad. And John says, for what? And Dean says, using a bullet. And John says, Matt, I'm proud of you. You know, Sam and I, we can get pretty obsessed, but you watch out for this family. You always have. And Dean makes a face that's like a digesting this information face. Like he's thinking about what's just been said to him. He's happy, but he's thinking. You can see the wheels turning a little, and it's amazing acting.
Yeah.
And the wind suddenly picks up and the lights start flickering and they all go over to the window and John goes, it found us. It's here. And Sam's like, the demon? And John goes, Sam, lines of salt in front of every window, every door. And Sam says, I already did it. And John says, well, check it, okay? And Sam's like, okay. And so he leaves the room.
This is super suspicious now with hindsight because he's definitely already done it. We've watched him put all the salt and everything on there. And obviously he's just trying to get him out of the room.
Oh, yeah. My brain was like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. It's like the most sus thing ever.
Yeah.
And then John goes, Dean, you got the gun? And Dean goes, yeah. And John says, give it to me. And so he takes the Colt out, but then he's like, Dad, Sam tried to shoot the demon in Salvation and it disappeared. And John goes, this is me. I won't miss. Now give me the gun. Hurry.
I've put there's a sense of urgency here, which is one of the signs of a scam, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. And Dean kind of hesitates and he looks down at the gun. And John goes, son, please. And that part was really soulful, you know? And Dean starts to back up a couple of steps. And John goes, give me the gun. What are you doing, Dean? And Dean goes, he'd be furious. And we go, shit, son, it's about to get real. Okay. And John goes, what? And Dean goes, that I wasted a bullet. He wouldn't be proud of me. He'd tear me a new one. And John just looks at him as Dean raises the gun and points it at him. And then he cocks it. And Dean says, you're not my dad. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Then John goes, Dean, it's me. And Dean goes, I know my dad better than anyone. And you ain't him. And John says, what the hell has gotten into you? And Dean's like, I could ask you the same thing. Stay back. And Sam comes into the room and he looks shocked because obviously this is not what he was expecting to happen. He's like, what the fuck is happening here? And Sam goes, yeah, Dean, what the hell's going on? And John is like, your brother's lost his mind. And Dean goes, he's not dad. And Sam says, what? And Dean says, I think he's possessed. I think he's been possessed since we rescued him. And he starts looking more and more upset. And John says, don't listen to him, Sammy. And Sam goes, Dean, how do you know? And Dean's trying not to like cry at this point. Like he's clearly terrified is not the right word. He's emotionally bereft because so much has happened in such a short amount of time. And now it's his dad. And he says he's different. And John says, you know, we don't have time for this. Sam, you want to kill this demon? You've got to trust me. And Sam's looking back and forth between his dad and his brother. And Dean's looking at him, but he doesn't say anything. But there's like this silent...
like he's watching a game of tennis.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And John goes, Sam. And Sam's still looking back and forth. And he goes, no. And then he stands by Dean's side. And that's like a huge moment. And John's looking at them. And then he's looking all heartbroken and stuff. He's all like, fine, you're both so sure. Go ahead and kill me. And then he looks down and he waits. And Dean holds the gun on him, but he's not pulling the trigger. And John says, I thought so. But then his head snaps up. Like, it's like this, well, it snaps up, maybe not quite right. He does this slow reveal, right, where he lifts his head and his eyes are fucking yellow.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is such an incredible actor. Like, I really believed him. I couldn't work out whether, like, he looks so hurt because his kids don't believe him that he's not a demon. And it's like, I was like, I don't know who to believe. He's so good.
He's incredible. And the way that he flips, like, I feel like most actors would have played one dramatically different from the other, and he doesn't. His performance is a lot more subtle, and because it's more subtle, it's A, more believable, and B, a lot scarier.
Yeah, when he switches from the sad, my kids don't believe me, to the, oh, I'm a demon.
The look up. It's all in one scene, too, because it's like he looks down like he's heartbroken, and he looks up like, you stupid sons of bitches with the yellow eyes. It's like, you're fucked now. Yeah. It's such a great transition, and I love it.
Yeah.
So he looks back up and his eyes are yellow, and Sam lunges but gets thrown up against the wall and pinned there. So is Dean. Dean also gets just slammed. And so he drops the Colt, and John walks over to pick it up, and John says, what a pain in the ass this thing's been. And you're like, oh, the menace. And Sam says, it's you, isn't it? We've been looking for you for a long time. And John says, well, you found me.
This made me laugh because you know how we talk about when you have like film quotes that you and your friends say all the time to each other? This reminded me of one of those. Me and one of my best friends always quote Candyman, and it's the bit where he goes, I hear you're looking for the Candyman, bitch. Well, you found him. We say that all the time.
Yeah.
Even to this day, we say that all the time, and it made me laugh.
Yeah. The thing that got me was how in this scene immediately before this, it's the fact that John is being so nice. And I was like, when a demon is nicer than you are to your own children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, if he's been possessed this whole time, he was fully committing to taking a nap tied up on that bed, right? He's totally committed to the part, and I thought that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then also John is too nice to Sam, and that's a giveaway. And Sam's like, no, because there's that part where the moment where Sam realizes that Dean is telling the truth and his dad's possessed is because John is being way too nice to him. And you can see his face being like, nope, you're not my dad. You're not an asshole. Like, you're being way too good to both of us. Clearly, you're a demon. And I can't
Because the demon's
get over
obviously just taken like human lessons, and it's like, oh well, dads are caring and loving to their sons.
Well, the thing that really gets me, the thing that really, really gets me, that makes it so much funnier, is if you think about what he says in the next scene, where he talks about how he's there for his family and Meg was his daughter, and the guy that Dean shot was his son, and he's like, you're the only ones who can have family and care about them. He's actually a dad who cares about his kids. Bro. He's a dad who cares about his kids, so he's acting like how a dad is supposed to act, and because of that, they know he's a demon, because this demon dad is more daddy than John Winchester. Can I just take a moment to appreciate that? I just, okay. So, we're back in this scene, all right? And Sam says, but the holy water. And John says, you think something like that works on something like me? And Sam tries to fight the force that has him pinned to the wall, but he fails. And he goes, I'm going to kill you. And John is like, oh, that'd be a neat trick. In fact, he puts the gun down on the table. Here, make the gun float to you there, psychic boy. And he says it so
evil.
Like, he's so belittling. And Sam looks at the gun. He's like clearly trying to use the force, okay? But fuck all happens. And John goes, well, this is fun. And he walks over to the window beside Dean. I could have killed you 100 times today, but this is worth the wait. And so Dean's struggling, but he's still pinned to the wall. And John looks over at him and he says, your dad, he's in here with me, trapped inside his own meat suit. He says hi, by the way. He's going to tear you apart. He's going to taste the iron in your blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great, great piece of horror.
Yeah. And it's even scarier because it's John saying it. Like, I know it's the demon, but
face.
It's John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his face and his voice.
Yeah. I don't know if they did something to the lighting here or if it was an effect, but he kind of looks really like he's turned really grey here and his eyes are like glowing now. Rather
I wrote
than
that
like
down.
His normal skin color.
I called it the demon color grade because what they've done is everything else is dark and deeply saturated, but they desaturate his color scheme so that he is grayed out in a way that makes him pop both against the darkness of the background and makes him look creepy and menacing and extra evil. And then also the same thing happens. Laura's totally right. The eyes look gold as fuck. Like they look terrifying. It's beautiful, but it's fucking scary as fuck, and it's so good.
And again, Jeffrey D. Morgan is really good here because he's really good at playing evil as well.
He's so good at playing evil. Like I really think that the people who did The Walking Dead saw this and were like, "Ooh, snatches."
Yeah, because he's scary in that as well. Yeah,
100%. Yeah. So Dean says, let him go or I swear to God. And John says, what? What are you and God gonna do? You see, as far as I'm concerned, this is justice. And he goes over to Dean. You know that little exorcism of yours? That was my daughter. And Dean goes, who? Meg? And John says, the one in the alley? That was my boy. You understand? And Dean says, you've got to be kidding me. And John says, what? You're the only one that can have a family? You destroyed my children. How would you feel if I killed your family? And then he smiles at Dean and he says, oh, that's right. I forgot. I did. Still, two wrongs don't make a right.
That's evil.
It's so evil. And then I wrote down, okay, so either sending a demon to hell destroys them or this is a bad speech. Spoiler alert. It's one of these two. because I can't tell you which one it is, because then you'll know things you shouldn't know.
Well, one of them was killed with the Colt, wasn't it? And once that one's,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they're definitely like gone.
Oh yeah, he's for
And then
sure dead.
One was exercised, so it's like, do they have the same effect? But yeah, I know what you mean.
Because it's like all of the other exorcisms is like the demon goes to hell, right? Where are demons from? Hell. Fun fact, demons are from hell. So like it's a great speech. It's evil, it's scary sounding, but I was just like, that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
So Sam asks the demon why he killed their mum and Jess, and he says because they got in the way of his plans for Sam. And I was like, "Ooh, what plans?"
Yeah, I was so excited for Laura's. Ooh, she does these specific ones that I wrote down in my notes. I was like, ooh, and then I did it with her. It's iconic.
Yeah, but it's because he says, "You and all the children like you," and I was like, "Oh, so they are all connected in some way." And he's got plans,
evil plans.
Yeah, and Dean can't help himself. He has to be sassy, doesn't he? Because he says, "Listen, do you mind getting this over with? Because I really can't stand the monologuing." And I thought that was funny, although it wasn't really a monologue because he was having a conversation with Sam.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. And John goes, "Funny, but that's all part of your MO, isn't it? Masks all that nasty pain. It masks the truth." And Dean's like, "Oh yeah, what's that?" And John says, "You fight and you fight for this family, but the truth is they don't need you, not like you need them. Sam, he's clearly John's favorite. Even when they fight, it's more concern than he's ever shown you."
Yeah, basically the demon's pointing out that Dean needs to go to therapy.
The demon's like, you are fucked. This is why you are the way you are. And Dean says, "I bet you're real proud of your kids too, huh? Oh wait, I forgot. I wasted them." And Dean just smiles at him. He does the most beautiful evil smile. And again, I need therapy because that is hot. Okay. That is hot. So John steps back and puts his head down, and then when he looks up, Dean's screaming in pain, and Sam's going, "Dean, no." And Dean starts bleeding out from his chest. Like we see these like invisible like claw marks over his heart, and it looks like the demon's like magic is about to rip his heart out of his chest. It's really gory. And Dean's going, Dad, don't you let it kill me." And he is scared and he's in pain and he's on the verge of tears, and it is so sad but also so scary because like again, Dean does not scare easily. So whenever Dean is scared as an audience member, you're like anxious and you're on the edge of your seat. So John looks at him and he smiles this evil smile, and Dean's screaming even louder now, and Sam's calling out for Dean. And the blood is like really just pouring out of him. And so Sam's struggling as hard as he can to try to break free from the demon's hold. And blood starts running out of Dean's mouth. And Dean says, "Dad, please." And then he passes out and Sam's going, "Dean." And this whole sequence is like so scary and so savage.
Yeah.
So John whispers, "Stop." And suddenly Sam is free. And then John says, "Stop it." And Sam dives and he grabs the gun off of the table. And John turns to him and his eyes are yellow again. And Sam aims the gun at him. But I was like, conveniently, John overcomes possession. And that lets Sam come through and get the gun.
Yeah, just to let him free for a few seconds.
Yep. Conveniently. Okay. So John says, "You kill me, you kill Daddy." And Sam says, "I know." And then he fires the gun. And we as an audience for a minute are like, "Oh shit, son." But then we realize that he shot John in the leg. So John falls down and so does Dean. And Sam gets up and goes over to Dean. And Sam goes, Dean, hey, oh God, you've lost a lot of blood." And Dean's like, "Where's Dad?" And Sam says, He's right here, Dean." And Dean says, go check on him. And Sam goes, Dean. And Dean goes, go check on him. Because even while he's literally dying, even though he knows he's not the favorite child, he's like, is my dad okay? And you're just like, oh.
Poor Dean.
I know. So Sam goes, Dad, Dad. And John looks up and he goes, Sammy, it's still alive. It's inside me. I can feel it. My immature ass was like, crazy.
I thought when he screamed Sammy, that was actually really scary.
That was
like,
really
Sammy!
scary. Yeah, that was really, really scary. It's kind of a jump scare because he properly screams that part. And then he says it's still alive. So he says it's still alive. It's inside me. I can feel it. You shoot me. You shoot me. You shoot me in the heart, son. And then Sam aims the gun at John, and John screams, do it now. And Dean says, Sam, don't you do it. Don't you do it. And Dean is like crying in the background. Like it's not sobbing crying. It's like he's so conflicted and so terrified, and he's so scared that he's alone and he's gonna have to bury another person, because obviously he was a kid when his mom died.
Yeah.
But he's watching this play out where he thinks he's gonna have to bury everyone. And
he thinks that he probably thinks that Sam's going to do it because him and his dad are both like, whatever cost, they're gonna sacrifice themselves for killing the demon.
Exactly.
To kill the demon.
And it's just so fucking heartbreaking, right? So John says, you've got to hurry. I can't hold on to it much longer. You shoot me, son. Shoot me. I'm begging you. We can end this here and now, Sammy. And Dean says, Sam, no. And John says, you do this, Sammy. Sam. And then the demon suddenly leaves John in a black cloud from his mouth and disappears through the floor. And John looks at Sam accusingly. All right. And I was like, how the fuck? Why? If Sam wasn't going to do it, why did the demon run? This is a serious question.
Maybe just, I don't know. Maybe just to like get out of the way, just in case he changes his mind.
Yeah.
But when they're like demon smoke, where do they go? Is it like demon dust where they can only go in vents? Where does the smoke go?
I mean, apparently in smoke form, they can just do whatever they want. Yeah.
Just float around.
Yeah, into fucking truck drivers.
Yeah. I actually was convinced that Sam was going to do it at one point because he kept saying that he would kill the demon at whatever cost. I was like, he's going to do it.
Yeah, so was I. But then there's that clear moment of hesitation. And then you kind of realize that he's going to listen to Dean. And it was the timing for me. Like if the demon had left right before something, I don't know, if it was done a little bit differently, I feel like I would have believed it. But the way that it's done, they filmed it so that you can see Sam's conflict, and like they filmed it so that we understand that Sam is making a choice, that he loves his brother more than he wants revenge.
Yeah.
Right? It's this moment where we're supposed to go, okay, at least Sam loves Dean more than he wants that. So he loves Dean more than John loves Dean, clearly. Right? That's what we're supposed to take away. But I just feel like the order and the way it went down made me feel like, why did he leave? Like, there's still so many moves that he had, you know? And he's been, like, John's been shot in the leg. They're not expecting it. He could just use his fucking telekinetic powers and do whatever he wants. Like, he could use his powers to force the gun out of Sam's hand, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have just ended them all right there.
Yeah. So it just felt, I don't know, it felt odd to me. Like, it's a good scene, but I just, the way that it played out felt kind of strange. But I appreciate the fact that they decided to bring us back in with this fucking jump scare that, like, is probably one of the best jump scares in TV. Like, I will give them this scene.
Got me.
This scene is worth all the other stuff where we just go, huh? So we're in the Impala and Sam's driving with John, and John is like fucking borderline passed out. Dean is in the back seat. John's gasping in pain. And Dean looks like not in a good way, right? And Sam says, just hold on, all right? The hospital's only 10 minutes away. And John says, I'm surprised at you, Sammy. Why didn't you kill it? I thought we saw eye to eye on this. Killing the demon comes first, before me, before everything. And Sam looks in the rearview mirror where he can see Dean. And you're just like,
Yeah.
ah. And you go, John, this is why they knew it was a demon, because you are the worst, okay? You are just the worst. And so Sam says, no, sir, not before everything, which is like his way of saying, I love my brother. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So he says, look, we still got the Colt. We still have the one bullet left. We just have to start over, all right? I mean, we already found the demon. And then this is when a fucking 18-wheeler suddenly slams into the passenger side of the Impala, full speed, T-bones it, okay? Fucked. Everyone and everything is fucked. And the driver of the semi is sitting behind the wheel, and his eyes are like solid fucking demon black, okay? And then we cut back to the car where we see Dean, Sam, and John completely unconscious, blood everywhere. Like they look dead.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's end credits.
That's it. It did jump scare me. And like every time, whenever they have those kinds of crashes where a car gets like side swiped, it always freaks me out. And I'm always like, I hate it when they do that.
Yeah.
Because they do it quite a lot in TV shows. It always makes me jump. I had a fun fact as well, which I thought I'd written down, but I didn't. So I'll see if I can remember it. On the special features of the box set, which I'm going to keep bringing up because Joy doesn't get to see them.
Thanks. I love you too, cousin.
The director, who I think was Kim Manners again, said it was supposed to be like a massive crash where the car like flips and gets chucked up in the air and then flips and rolls over and everything. But the hydraulic whatever they do to make it launch the car didn't work.
Canon.
And because they'd totaled the car, they couldn't do it again. So that was, but I think it was better how they had it, because I think it would have looked too unrealistic and just a bit over the top if they'd done it the way they'd planned.
Yeah. I think it keeps it more grounded in reality, and I think it makes it gorier and it makes it more terrible. And it's also such a 1-2 punch, because he's literally mid-speech and wham, from nowhere, they're suddenly piled in. And what it reminds me of is, so to me, the biggest jump scare of all time, because even though I know it's coming, it always gets me, is, you know, in Crocodile Dundee, where she goes to the river to refill her canteen, and there's suddenly an enormous crocodile comes out to get her, and it almost gets her. It's by like a fucking hair's breadth does she live, okay? Makes me jump out of my skin every single time. This sequence, too, every single time. And I would, when I was doing my notes, I was like, motherfucker, every fucking time. My heart was in my butt, y'all. My heart was in my butt, okay? Like, I was shook. And I was just like, oh, thanks a lot. But also, respect. Because, again, it is such a good jump scare. It's so fucking scary.
It's an annoying cliffhanger though, because like they were already, John's got a bullet wound in his leg from a like magic gun, and Dean is like internally bleeding or something, and now they're all just crashed, because the last shot is kind of it pans across them all, doesn't it, showing them all bloody and like you're like I don't know,
everybody's dead. Yeah. Because how are they supposed to have survived that? Because Laura's right. Like, you start on already very fucked, going to the hospital. Not good. Sam has been beaten to shit by that demon. Okay?
Yeah.
And he already looks like a walking, like, car accident before he gets into the car accident. Dean was having his fucking heart ripped from his chest and has bled, a shit ton of blood everywhere, before he got hit by an 18-wheeler. And John was already shot in the leg, looked like near a main artery, okay? Did not look good, all right? And was beaten and tortured before he was possessed. So that's just like, so you have beaten, tortured, then possessed, then shot, then hit by a fucking semi-truck. Like, no one is walking away from this. Okay?
Sorry, it's not funny, but it's just how you, when you listed it all off, it seems really funny.
It's a lot.
Like
it's a lot. Like when you lay it all out, it's a lot. It's been a whole day. It's been a whole ass day. As Dean says, this sucks out loud. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what beginning of season 2 is going to have in store, but I guess I'll find out soon.
I guess you'll find out if anyone lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know there's fucking 15 seasons, so obviously people survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be really entertaining.
Are we doing games?
Yes.
Okay, villain hot or not?
Hot. Because Jeffrey Dean Morgan is hot. And like
that's what I put.
The demon is, I knew you were going to say yes because I know what, like, you're into Jeffrey Dean Morgan big time. So like, I immediately, Laura's going to be like, ooh, hot. See, I told you, there are hot villains. Okay, she didn't believe me for so long. We're finally getting into like...
But the other demons no, but I put Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Yellow Eyes, yes.
Hot.
Episode scary.
Okay, I know that I've laughed like the whole way through this episode, and maybe I have torn it to shreds. A little bit like how Demon John was tearing Dean to shreds. However, I'm gonna give it like a 9. Because of the jump scare at the end. Like, there are really good parts in this, and there's scary, creepy parts, but just the truck at the end alone puts it at like a 9.5 for me.
See, I'd only put it as a 6 because I put it's not really scary, although John as a demon was scary. And yeah, even the truck at the end, it's a jump scare, but it's not like a horror. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with like a 6.
Yeah, that's fair.
What was your favourite quote?
There are so many. It's really hard to choose. I
feel like you pointed one out earlier, but I can't remember. Oh yeah,
this sucks out loud is pretty high up there. Let me just double check. Oh, okay, no, I have it. I will march into hell myself, and I will slaughter each and every one of you evil sons of bitches.
Oh yeah, that's good. Mine was just Dean's gotcha when he gets Meg.
That was so good. That was so good.
Best thirst trap.
Gotcha. Gotcha's my thirst trap. Not my quote, but it's my thirst trap.
I put that as my thirst trap as well. Although I did have a second one, so you can have gotcha, and I'll go with when Dean shoots the Colt and it like focuses on his face.
That's hot. Yeah. Those are both awesome moments. I'm sticking with the gotcha though, because there's just like this really specific kind of hot sociopath situation happening. And as we all know, I need therapy, and that's really attractive to me. So I have to stick with my first choice.
Do we have an MVP?
Dean.
Yeah, I put Dean for realizing his dad was a demon and for saving Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and also Dean calling out the family bullshit and being like, you're both selfish. He finally really stands up for himself in this episode to both of them. Because like, with his dad, in a weird way, when he says to the demon, you're not my dad, because he would be furious at me. In a weird way, I feel like that's standing up to John. And also when he's talking to Bobby, and Bobby says, I wanted to, like, you know, your dad just has that effect of you just want to shoot him. And Dave's like, huh, yeah, it's true. He gets the information out of Meg and then saves human Meg in a kind of violent way, but still saves her. And then there's all the stuff at the end where he's like, you're not my dad, you're a demon. There's the part right at the beginning where he's like, we need to get the fuck out of Dodge. There's just so much that he does in this episode. I feel like he's got to be MVP.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't have a motel, but we had a cabin in the woods.
We did have a cabin in the woods.
I like
and it was spooky and rickety, and I loved it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I would stay
I'd
there.
Stay there.
So when we do our road trip, we clearly have to find a really haunted cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
Since this is the end of season 1, I want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who's listened to the show. Thank you to everybody who rated us and gave us 5 stars. Thank you to the entire country of Finland for rating us at number 5 for like a full month. What was that? How did that happen? I'm still like in denial that that's even real. Yeah, just and thank you to Laura for being literally the best co-host ever. I'm just really grateful.
Yeah, I'm grateful to you as well because it's fun.
So we need to let you guys know that we are having a break because Laura and I are hanging out in real life and we're going to be doing really cool, fun stuff. We've been working super hard, though, to make sure that you have an episode on our break. So you are going to have both our bloopers reels and but they're so unhinged. Okay. So you have a whole segment of just wild shit from us. Including, I believe, me talking about that time that I hallucinated penguins. A stirring rendition of Home on the Range that happened because Laura kept saying Ranger Hut over and over. Some of this stuff where I freak her out and then she's screaming at me. It's good times. And then we also are going to have a bonus episode, which we're making specially for you guys, which will be favorites of the season so far, highlights, truly deep behind the scenes stuff. It's going to be really fun. So I'm actually really looking forward to making it and listening to it. I'm not going to lie. Some of the stuff that we went over when we were preparing to record it, we were laughing so hard, we were falling out of our chairs. So genuinely hope that you love it. Everybody gets to have a holiday. You guys get to have a holiday and listen to that. We get to have a holiday and hang out. And in real time, Laura, who is terrified of clowns, is going to be watching the clowns episode of season 2 with me in real life. And you know that is going to be wild. So we've got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It will be, so you'll have a wrap-up episode and a blooper episode, which together will be probably about the same length as a normal episode. So you'll still have content, but we are having a week between the season 1 and season 2. And it's only a week, and then we'll be back.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at The Witches of Letters Podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.